a small task force of 63 people. I'm fortunate enough to be one of the 63, to look at all forms of transportation, not just public transportation, but highways, bridges, roads, ports, rail, and try to help the governor in his new budget set some priorities for the future. Again, 7 public meetings were held around the state in some metropolitan areas and some very rural spots. And to the amazement of many, but not to myself, 85% of all the public comments received at these public meetings were not about roads and bridges and ports, but they were about the need for more public transportation, especially in the rural areas where most trips there are taken by seniors and people with disabilities. So we think that's a good sign for things to come. So if you want to help us, we do need your help. If you believe in what we do is important, I ask you to do a couple things. Number one, please thank the governor for taking immediate and decisive action on this situation to give us at least some temporary, and that 10 months will go by very quickly, as we all know, temporary relief. And secondly, please join me in asking the legislature to provide adequate funding the way other states do for public transportation. And now for the second part of my speech, the bright side, the Euclid Avenue side. It's great to be here today when the orange barrels are gone. The last brick paver was put down between Public Square and East 9th Street last Friday. The last tree was planted. The last piece of landscaping is in. There's still some punch list items working. There's still a lot of work in University Circle and the Cleveland Clinic area, but that work is continuing and will wrap up soon. The project is on time and on budget. And I want to say that because it sounds so good. The project is on time and on budget. And I really want to thank some of the RTA people in the room for the very, very hard work they've done. We are now planning a major celebration, a weekend celebration, October 24th and 25th, a full 9 weeks ahead of the scheduled completion date, as a matter of fact. And we really want you to participate in that. I want to thank our local partners, the state of Ohio, the city of Cleveland, NOACA, for their strong support, and certainly people in the audience, both here and out there, for putting up with which was very significant construction, but very necessary construction during this process. The project was much more than a transportation project. It was also an infrastructure project, as water lines and sewer lines that were well beyond their useful life and literally had collapsed out in front of this building had to be replaced. 9.4 miles of roadway improvements were made, 480,000 brick pavers were laid, 1,500 trees were planted, 659 light poles were installed, 19 miles of irrigation lines were set in, 12 miles of fiber optic lines were installed, and 214 new trash receptacles provided. But it is a transportation project. It really is RTA's newest rapid. RTA currently serves about 20,000 customers a day on Euclid Avenue. With the state-of-the-art project, with state-of-the-art technology, we'll be able to serve 30,000 customers at the same cost as we did before. This will replace the existing expenses on the number 6 bus line. The service will be comfortable, will be quick, will be first class, be very simple to use, and as importantly to us, efficient to operate and maintain, with rush hour service of every 5 minutes, so it'll be very, very convenient. The quiet, clean, hybrid electric vehicles, the rapid transit vehicles we call them, were designed specifically for this project. They are now being considered for use in many cities around the country. Transportation professionals and political leaders all over the globe are looking at this project. We had actually 3 conventions here in April, and many of the concepts that we're integrating will be integrated in other projects around the world. The project has the flexibility of a bus system, but the characteristics of a rail system. And just some of those characteristics are the large capacity vehicles, which you may have seen, the RTVs. They're 63 feet long, they bend in the middle. They're so large we had to have the state law changed so we could operate them in Cleveland. There's level boarding from the station to the floor of the vehicles. There's precision docking, never before used in North America, which we borrowed from Essen, Germany. The vehicles will move in their exclusive right-of-way in the median between Public Square and East 105. The service will be 40% faster than it is today. The vehicle will actually control the traffic lights through GPS technology to add to that speed of the process. As you may or may not have heard, we've sold the naming rights to the line. It was to be referred to as the Silver Line. That's why the vehicles are silver, the light poles are silver, the stations are silver, and the trash cans are silver. But it will be now called the Health Line, thanks to the generosity between the Cleveland Clinic and University Hospital. Great name. We're also developing 10 limited sponsorships for stations along Euclid Avenue. Examples of some stations here: Medical Mutual will be the sponsor of the East 9th Street station, National City, the East 6th Street station, Cleveland State, the stations in their campus area, and Rifchen Jewelers at the station at East 2nd Street. The money generated from these sponsorships will be used to maintain the stations and maintain the landscaping associated with the stations so we can keep this thing looking great for years into the future. As far as we know, this is the first time a naming rights deal has been done for a public transportation project. And I'm getting calls every day from people in Chicago and New York and Charlotte because they want to do what we're doing here. The other news we heard a couple weeks ago, which is also great, which is the health line will connect the medical mart at the Tower City location to the hospitals farther down the road on Euclid Avenue. We couldn't have planned that any better than we did. And Euclid Avenue is also an economic development project. The project directly created thousands of jobs in our region, as over 90% of the construction contracts were given to local Northeast Ohio firms. 83% of all the money expended was Federal Transit Administration money, designed for a major transportation project somewhere in the U.S. If it didn't go here, it would have gone to Phoenix, Las Vegas, or even Pittsburgh. Wasn't it great to beat Pittsburgh at something? So it's great to have that money come here and have it benefit our local economy. According to the Plain Dealer, $5 billion worth of economic development is happening today on Euclid Avenue. $5 billion. That's an amazing number. And it's the Plain Dealer, so it must be right. Making Euclid Avenue once again a place where people want to be, once again a prestigious address. What's happening? We know about some of the big projects, the Art Museum, the Cleveland Clinic Heart Center, the VA Hospital. We know about the great things at East 4th Street, Pickwick and Frolic, the House of Blues, Lola's. What we may not know about is the 660 apartments and 74 townhomes right here in downtown that are being developed today. The 80 apartments in the Quadrangle, just east of here. The 191 apartments in Midtown, where land value has doubled in the last 3 years. The 320 apartments and 160 townhouses in University Circle. All great things for the future. And as we take our orange barrels down, we're seeing others put orange barrels up. That happened just last week on Lower Euclid Avenue. It was open for, I think, 2 days. Then they started renovating that building. Actually, I think the majority of all the tax credits the state gave out in the state of Ohio are given out to people here on Euclid Avenue. So you're going to see a lot of construction, a lot of development, all great things, I think, for the future. In closing, public transportation today is more important than ever due to some growing concerns about energy independence, climate change, the environment, and the significant impact that higher fuel is causing on the family budget. Public transportation will be even more important than ever in the future. As we're seeing the nation's population grow, a greater percentage of that population is going to the major metropolitan areas, the major metro centers, where congestion and air quality is already an issue. So a lot of money is going to be spent in there. In closing, I want to thank you for your support of public transit, your support of RTA, because it's very important, I really believe this and I think you do too, for our state and our region to succeed. A good public transit system is not an option, it's a necessity. Thank you very much.
Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we're listening to Joseph Calabrese, CEO and General Manager of the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority. Now, we'd like to return to our speaker for our traditional City Club question and answer period. We welcome questions from everyone, including our guests. Holding the microphones today are City Club Director of Development, Jessica Allen, and Assistant Director of Development, Marcella Brown. Now, first question.